Good evening. Welcome again to Living with Lupus radio show. This is your host, Deborah Dixon Kinzer, and tonight we're going to discuss testing for lupus. In order to find out that you have lupus, there's a little bit of testing that has to go, that is involved with the testing, the exam. The doctors look for your signs and symptoms of lupus, so like the rashes and, if you're telling me that you're constantly tired, you have no energy, frequent headaches, your joints are always hurting, and you've got fever. Sometimes you may feel chest pains and you don't even know why the chest pains are happening. These are some of the things that the doctor looks for. Those are the signs and symptoms, okay? They're also looking to see if you have abnormal hair loss, okay? So what else do they do? How else do they figure this out? There is no one test that actually figures out if you actually have lupus or not. Okay, so it's just a whole bunch of things that are brought into one. Like I said, the signs and symptoms are the first ones. Then you have your physical exam. So if you're giving him all these symptoms and everything, your fatigue, your headaches, you got so many headaches and there seem to be migraines and it takes days for them to go away. Your painful or swollen joints, your fever, you're feeling at a loss all the time. And then you're constantly having your legs and your feet swelling and you don't know why. Or you're having pain, trying to walk and it feels like that all your joints in your feet are swelling or your toes go certain different ways and everything. You have sensitivity to sunlight, hair loss, ulcers that appear in your nose and your mouth. Those are those signs and symptoms, and that's what they look for. So in your physical exam, they're going to check everything. They're going to check your blood pressure. They're going to check your heart rate. They're going to check to see what your temperature is. If you're maintaining or, sustaining a fever or anything like that. They're going to look at your general appearance, and it's always good to talk to them. Have a conversation with your doctor. Don't be afraid to have that conversation with them and tell him what's going on. If you've seen your doctor before and he's heard how you talked before and then you come in and you're talking a different way and everything, and you can change your tone if you want to, but he knows you. Your doctor knows who you are. And by having a conversation with them about how you're feeling and what kind of tests they're going to be taking, what your concerns are, they can pretty much, narrow down what's going on with you. So it's always good to have a great discussion with your doctor. Now, if your blood pressure goes up above 120 over 80, it might be a slight concern, but if it's like higher than that, way higher than that, so we're pushing at 160, 170, 180 over, 80, 90, there's going to be room for concern. They also listen to your heart rate. You're supposed to have 60 beats per minute and anywhere between 60 to 100 beats per minute. If you go over those, they're going to have concerns, and they write these things down in their charts and everything so that they can, keep a track of what's going on with you. All right. Your fever, a normal fever is around 98.6. If it goes higher than that, they're looking to see if you have keep or sustain a low-grade fever. Okay, so you don't want to have a fever, but you don't want to be too cold either. Okay, so they look at those fluctuations and everything and see how things are going and decide, between all your visits and everything, if there's cause for concern. Now, if you have unexplained things happening to you and everything, this is going to be, something that they're going to want to know. All right. So they also conduct a ears, nose, and eyes check to make sure everything is going okay. All right. When they do the blood test, there's a blood test that they do, and it's called the anti-nuclear bodies blood testing. And according to what my doctor was telling me, they look for the counts of the white blood cells, okay? They look for your counts of your red blood cells. So they look to see if your white blood cells outnumber your red blood cells. Sorry, your white blood cells outnumber the red blood cells. Then there's room for concern, because that means that there's something going on in your body. There's some type of infection going on, or there's something that's, just absolutely not right with the whole situation. Now, why is it important to have these discussions? Well, if you're feeling lethargic a lot, you're feeling like there's something that's not right with your body, you're losing hair in extreme amounts of rates. Like, I'm just going to give you guys a couple of examples of what happened to me, okay? So, I told you all I've had lupus since I was 12 years old. But as I grow older and everything, there would be times when I would be having flare-ups, and I mean serious flare-ups. That means there was something seriously wrong with me, to the point where I was getting concerned, and then my hair started falling out. And when my hair, I would be brushing my hair, and clumps of hair would be falling on the floor, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. Yes, it scared me, because I do know that I had lupus, but I did not know at that time that that was one of the signs that something had progressed with inside of me, okay? So when I started losing my hair, it got to be a concern to me. So I went to my doctor, took the hair with me, of course, and everything, and showed him how it was coming out in clumps. Now, I had little patches in my head. I don't have them anymore or anything like that, but that's when he decided that he was going to run another series of tests, okay, to see how far it has progressed. They also do a bone density test, which I did a density test as well, and it's not like it was when I was a child. See, a bone density test when I was a child, they literally tapped into your bone in either your leg or your thigh, sometimes your arm, and stuff like that, to see what the bone density was for you. If your bones are a little bit too soft, there's serious problems, and they're going to take other steps. That's when they order the blood testing and everything. They look for the, types of blood cells that are in there, to see if there's anything that's going to be out of place. They look at the platelets that form in your bone marrow, and they look at your serum, okay, the blood serum, and they're looking for clotting, and see how clotting works in your body and stuff like that. So these are types of things that, when I have my discussions with my doctors, we talk about these things. We talk about how they can affect us and stuff like that, So I wouldn't be afraid to talk to your doctor. Now, there was also a time, and I'm just using these as examples because you don't know, what you're going through, and there may be somebody out there that's gone through these. Now, I've had little ulcers, or what they call them risers, that come up under my armpit and everything, and they would take the syringe in there and put the syringe in and pull out samples and stuff like that to test it, to make sure that there was, no, it wasn't cancerous or anything like that, but it was just ended up being large amounts of fluids where, I don't know, he said that you sometimes can get ulcers or risers like that all over your body, and you will get them all over your body, not because you want to get those, but because it's just one of those symptoms. And he said that when he found that, he ordered for me, because it was a possibility that there was something going on with my breast. So he ordered a test for that, to get an exam, which I had already had one like 3 months before. But because that happened, he ordered an exam just to make sure that everything was okay. So wherever you get them, if you, don't be alarmed, but, just write those things down, make sure that you have your questions prepared, and everything, so that you'll have something to discuss with your doctors and to find out. So if you suspect it, they may suspect it. Now, there's another thing that could go wrong. Another part of testing is the urinalysis testing. Okay, so they take a urinalysis test to make sure that your kidneys are functioning properly, that there's no white blood cells within your kidneys and everything, because lupus does attack the kidneys. It also attacks the liver. So all these things are going to be signs of testing that they're looking for. They also test your colon, believe it or not. And it's because polyps can form in there, and they can be very dangerous for you. So even if it doesn't turn out that it's colon cancer, you still have polyps that develop within you and cause other problems, okay? So those are the things that you look for. That's what they test for. And then with everything combined, it's like doing research, okay? So they're going to continuously check to make sure that you're okay. So if you suspect that there's something going on with you, that you have lupus or something like that, don't be afraid to tell your doctor, hey, I want to check for this. I don't want to check for that. Do an annual checkup every year, an annual physical checkup. That means a complete physical checkup from head to toe to make sure that everything is moving smoothly and that there's no issues that you're coming upon with lupus. If you are taking care of a family member and you consistently see them very tired and groggy all the time, you're not sure what's going on, it could be a few things. It could be anemia. That means that their blood levels are low and everything, and causing the fatigue. Or they could just be having a flare-up and that's causing the fatigue. It can affect your heart, your lungs, everything. Everything. They check for everything, and that's what you want the doctors to do. A good doctor will check, and they will do a physical exam for you every year. Now, if you have something going on with you, they'll call you in every 3 months and check those blood pellets and everything, just to make sure that you're doing fine. Okay? So that is what we had to discuss today. My name is Deborah Dixon Kinzer, and I am thankful that you guys are able to visit with me and listen to the show, the Living with Lupus radio show. I hope that I was able to help somebody out there. I know it seems like really quick that we're on here, but for right now, because we're getting things out there and we're talking to people, we have 15 minutes to do all these things. And I think I covered a lot. I hope I didn't talk too fast that you didn't understand what I was saying. If you liked what you heard, okay, please hit us up at livingwithlupusmagazine@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, you can hit me up at livingwithlupusmagazine@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Instagram at lupus_gurist, or you can inbox me at Living with Lupus Online Video Magazine on Facebook. You can also get me on Twitter at LivingWLupusMag. Okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And as always, Living with Lupus is intended to help you maintaining, sustaining, and retaining your life while living with lupus. This is your host, Deborah Dixon Kinzer. Please tune in again next Friday at 9 p.m. for the next series of Living with Lupus radio show. Have a great night.